The Riddle of the Earth, Chapter 9. Residue of comets join the meteor streams. The most famous comet is Halley's, and it has been lightly proposed as the comet of 43 BC, which was believed to portend the assassination of Caesar, as also that of 1066, when William the Conqueror overthrew Harold and the Saxons. It is given an orbit of 76 years, but unless all the laws of gravity are to be overthrown, it is physically impossible for a body in a state of disintegration, as it is shown comets are, to return century after century along an orbit which cannot possibly exist. It is impossible on the face of it that a comet would possess such an extended orbit of any circumstances. The outer and greater planets of enormous volume require the following periods to complete a circuit around the Sun. Neptune, 164,622 years. Uranus, 84.018. Saturn, 29.458. And Jupiter, 11,862. Yet Halley's comet, burning violently away, required 76 years, over 6 times the period needed for Jupiter, and over 2.5 times the period of enormous Saturn. To be a consistent satellite of the Sun on the same basis as the planetary systems, Halley's comet would require to be 76 times the specific gravity of the Earth, and over 2.5 times that of Saturn. But as mentioned, this in any case is an impossibility, because it is continuously exhausting its substance and subsequently losing centrifugal force. As Halley's comet approaches the Sun along an extended ellipse, or even a parabola, when the Sun forming the apex of the ellipse and is reducing its specific gravity every instant as it moves towards the Sun, or after solar contact as it recedes, any assumption that this comet would, after all this, disappear along a specified and consistent orbit is based upon an absolute defiance of all the laws of gravity. The last appearance of the cometary body alleged to be Halley's was in 1910. It had a long streaming tail, clear evidence of its rapid combustion. Astronomers believe that the aquarids appearing in the first week of May contain the remains or parts of Halley's, and suggest that the brilliant meteors flashing through the heavens at that time are the fragments of its materia scattered along an extensive orbit. In such a case, although another comet was called Halley's in 1910, it cannot be the same previous body. It can only represent a system of cometary phenomena. The identification of comets, there are many every year, is a very loose process, and reflects but little credit upon the perspicacity of astronomers generally. Fortunately, the Americans are turning their attention to the whole question, which is one of paramount importance. Such an admission, as mentioned, leads to certain obvious conclusions. If Halley's comet has disappeared itself among the aquarids of May, it can no longer be disporting in the heavens as the entity first historically recognized in 43 BC. It can no longer be a periodic comet. It must have broken up to join one or other of the meteoric streams, as have Béliers and Tempels, and this suggests that the meteor streams are recruited from the remains of former comets. Modern investigation, backward as it is in regard to meteorology, admits that the comet of 1862 joined the Perseids, Halley's, the Aquarids, Tempels, the Leonids, and Béliers, the Andromedes. The whole question of these various meteor streams is wrapped in mystery, but it is known they follow enormous elliptic orbits with the Sun is the apex. I think that's meant to be when the Sun, or I don't think that's grammatically correct, but anyway. Moving on, the individual particles of a comet which join one or other of these streams are evidently gathered up and in due course are drawn into the vortex of the Sun. The interesting suggestion that Tempel's comet has joined the Leonids and that its remains are signalized by a particularly brilliant display every 33 or 1/3 years implies, if correct, that these meteor streams complete enormous extended ellipses and are constantly augmented by the residue of comets. From these streams issue the stragglers which strike the Earth so frequently, but the movements of the various meteor streams are as yet quite elusive. They are evidently erratic and uncertain. And again, the probable solution of their variability will be found evidently to be related, eventually to be related to gravity. Sorry, I'll try that last sentence again. The probable solution of their variability will be found eventually to be related to gravity. There we go.